Hey guys, it's me, Tomye West. Just wanted to apologize for interrupting the episode before we get started, but I just felt like I should address what happened in this episode. So, about 25 minutes in, my brain just decided to shut down and stop working, and I have no idea why. So, I couldn't find my words for the rest of the episode and had a lot of trouble trying to get the sentences out that I wanted to say and make the points that I wanted to make. So, it's a little rough, and for that, I apologize. But it still has some great moments and the episode's still a lot of fun, and I hope you guys still enjoy it. So thank you, and let's get on with the show.
Let's get nuts.
Have my boy here pull your head off.
How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da! It's gone.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ranked and Reviewed. I am your host, Tomye West, and joining me as always is my co-host, Alanins Maximus, and we are here to continue our Batman Ranked and Reviewed series with our Ranked and Reviewed episode of Batman Returns from 1992. Now, before we get started, there's some things you should do, which is subscribe, like, and share. Make sure you're part of the conversation and help us grow the channel. We'd really appreciate it, and we're here to entertain, as they say. So before we get into the review of this, Alan, how you going?
I am going good. I've been enjoying. I'm now about halfway through the second day of WrestleMania, and I've avoided all but one spoiler. So, yeah.
Nice, man. I don't think I've watched any wrestling ever. I don't know. It's just always like I always looked at the fake aspect of it and thought, like, this isn't far off dancing.
I suppose you're not wrong.
Because you're learning choreography and you got to like team up with somebody and like you got to learn a like routine. And I don't know, man, it's a little shady for me. There's nothing wrong with dancing if you're a dancer, by the way. Just for myself, I'm not keen on dancing. I don't.
What about square dancing?
I don't know, man. Informal dancing, ska dancing. That was a laugh. Watching people at ska shows dance around.
And let's not forget hardcore dancing. There's nothing like watching a bunch of people beat the shit out of nothing.
Just terrible. Just terrible. So, as we said, we are here to do Batman Returns. Now, this movie came out in 1992. And this was the follow-up to the super successful 1989 Batman movie, which had Michael Keaton as Batman and had Jack Nicholson as Joker. This time we have Danny Devito as the Penguin, and we have Christopher Walken as it's not the mayor, is it? Because Cobblepot's going for the mayor position. So he's like a lawyer, I guess.
Sinister business guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Something like that. Now, before we get into this review, I thought we kind of started off with a little video. The video, it goes for 8 minutes, so we're probably not going to watch the whole thing. But I think this would be a good idea to play this and watch a bit of it to give people sort of an idea of the controversy behind this movie before it came out. because as it was getting released, back in 1992. So I think it's important to have that sort of information there for people to know, so that they understand sort of the climate of when this movie got released, so they can understand the movie's darker tone and weird choices, I guess. What do you think about that idea, Alan?
I think it is a good idea.
I was trying to find I was trying to find the words to say what I was looking for then, and when you get lost in your words, you're like, oh, man. All right, so here we go. I'll play it.
Hello, everyone. By now, you pretty much have had to have heard that the summer's big movie is Batman Returns. In its first couple of weeks, it has already grossed more than $100 million at the box office, and it is already creating controversy. Some parents contend that Batman Returns, which is rated PG-13, is actually being marketed for younger children, and the movie is just too violent. Let's get an expert opinion on that from USA Today's junior movie critic, 10-year-old Danny Slasky. Please welcome Danny.
I love how scripted everything this kid says is, and I love how his parents obviously told him exactly what to say.
It was very violent. It was a total attack against kids. The whole movie, everything that kids love was being used against them.
Like what?
Clowns. Even the penguin had a ducky boat. And
things that kids could identify
presents and mobiles. All that type of stuff were using to hurt kids and capture kids. Penguin's total goal was to hurt kids.
You think it was scary then?
Definitely for kids.
Yeah, for you?
I was actually a little bit scared, and I have never been scared of a movie like this before.
Yeah.
I came out of Terminator 2, fine.
Yeah. What do you think about the possibility of younger kids seeing this movie? You're 10, and it frightened you.
It's just not for younger kids. Penguin always had goop coming out of his mouth. Catwoman took her claws and played tic-tac-toe on a man's face. It was just so violent for kids. And with all the McDonald's toys, it's making it sound like it is for kids, and it's not.
Yeah, actually, Danny, you bring up an appropriate point here, because let me. I have had this lady hold these for me. Thank you, because I wanted to show you that all the hysteria surrounding Batman has caused McDonald's to do a Happy Meal promotion, and you know who's buying Happy Meals? 13-year-olds and over. And these are the toys that are on the market now. Of course, the whole Batman series. So it is all geared toward younger kids. These toys are for 4 and up. Let's take a look now at the controversy that this has created. It's the most hyped movie of the summer season, Batman Returns. It's got a lot of violence and some sexual innuendos. So it's rated PG-13, a warning to parents that some material in the movie is not appropriate for children under 13. But some parents say the marketing for the movie is directly targeting kids.
So I thought we'd play that just as sort of a start-off point to kind of show that the state around this Batman movie was very positive. Obviously, it's a very big love. It's a loved Batman movie, but it wasn't very positive with parents at the time, and it wasn't very positive with McDonald's at the time, who children's movie.
I find it interesting because I would have been 2 years younger than that kid, and I liked it. And I don't remember there being too much buzz like that. I suppose I was young, so I wasn't watching the news. But I don't know any kid that saw it around the time that was like, "Oh, this is terrifying." It's like,
for someone to say that they came out of Terminator 2 less scared than this movie is completely false. That's a lie.
yep.
Because I don't know if people remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger cuts the skin off his arm.
When the T-1000 skewers a dude through the head.
Or that dude blows himself up. That's like, like, yeah, okay. What John Connor's parents get killed by the dude, the metal Terminator. Like, come on, man. Like, Batman Returns is not scarier than Terminator 2. But I'm not going to sit here and say it's I mean, okay, where would you put it on the scale next to Batman in 1989? Would you say it's much separating it in like sort of like how appropriate it is for kids or not?
I would say it's It is a bit creepier. I think Tim Burton has a bit more of his creative Tim Burtonness to it. I think he kind of went, "Oh, wicked, that worked. Now I'm going to put some me into it."
Well, I think
But,
that
yeah.
this movie kind of derailed the plans for Tim Burton's sort of like continuation of this franchise.
True.
I think he was supposed to do a movie called, it's like not Batman. It was Batman Returns, and then it was Batman Continues, I think it was called. So he had plans to do all that, and Warner Brothers decided to pull the plug on that idea once McDonald's backed out of the contract for the Happy Meals, because that's such a lucrative money thing and a big thing in tie-in promotion, that it kind of put them at a lot of like public, like as we just saw in that video, public opinion of parents giving it a hard time. McDonald's saying, no, we're not going to sell the toys, and recalling the toys. So, I mean, I think Warner Brothers was just like, Burton! You know what Get Joel Schumacher in here. Burton! So, we're going to get into the I'll give you an overview of the movie. Batman Returns. This came out in 1992, as we said. It's a PG-13, which we heard in the video before. It goes for around 2 hours and 6 minutes. That's its runtime. Its IMDb rating is 7.1 out of 10. And it is directed by Tim Burton, as we just spoke about. Bob Kane wrote it, along with Daniel Waters. Well, Bob Kane gets credited as writing because he came up with Batman. So Daniel Waters wrote the story, and Sam Hamm wrote the story. Sam Hamm. And
How would you be?
yeah, and it's spelled SAMHAMM.
High school would have been awesome for him.
Hey, Sam, you want to get me some ham, man? So this also stars Michael Keaton, as we said, Danny DeVito as the Penguin, and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and Christopher Walken. Walken. I'll give you a plot summary. In the sewers of Gotham City to the rooftops of Gotham City, the Penguin wants to know where he came from. Well, in his villain ways. What? Okay, guess what? We're going to give our own plot summary, because this plot summary written here has absolutely no full stops, commas, nothing. It's just no punctuation whatsoever. It's all one long line.
You have to read it in one breath.
In the quickest way you can wrap this up, give us an overall of the plot.
Deformed penguin guy gets dumped in a sewer, comes out of sewer, becomes
Wants to be president. Oh man, just like George Bush, man.
Actually, no, better. Deformed penguin guy. It's a child of Pee Wee Herman. Gets dumped in a sewer.
Dude, legit. You know how I told you I fell asleep during this movie?
Yeah.
It was late into the movie, but the only note I managed to take down, you ready? I don't usually have to take notes unless it's like something where I'm like, oh, what actor was that again? So I just wrote down Pee Wee Herman straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he wants to run as mayor, yeah?
Yes, is convinced to run as mayor by seedy business guy who also tries to murder assistant, who for some reason gets powers of Cat.
Yeah, she does for some reason. It is for some reason, isn't it?
It really is. I've never understood that. It's like, okay, so these cats hung around you. Now you have cat power?
Well, how come I hang around with my dog all the time? I've got no dog powers.
Exactly.
So, it's funny because I'm reading the motion picture rating here for it, and it says contains. Oh wow, it's got so much detail. I've never gone into IMDb in this part. So it's got apparently sex and nudity, which I don't think so. Violence and gore. It's definitely got violence. Yeah, what nudity? Penguin in his pajamas. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking. Where?
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Cobblepot drink martinis. The Penguin and Catwoman drink champagne. Mr. Cobblepot smokes a cigarette using a holder. God, the MPA are pretty... Oh, here we go, profanity. Catwoman says shit in one moment of the film. Catwoman exclaims, damn, once in frustration. Bitch is used, and Penguin says shit towards the end. So they're very thorough, man. Very interesting. So I guess we'll get into before we get into some trivia, because we're going to do that, we're going to give our thoughts on this movie. I'm going to let Alan go first. Alan, what do you think about this movie?
I think it's a little bit of bias because it was one of those childhood movies that I think I have a soft spot for. But I really enjoy it. I think it's the reason I like it, I think, is more on the campy, brave and the bold power zap side of Batman rather than the Dark Knight, so to speak. And it's kind of that, but with the Tim Burton spear. Like, this is very much a Tim Burton movie. I don't think it's really that faithful or great as a Batman movie, but as a Tim Burton spin on Batman, I think it's the main reason I like it. So there's also just elements of just really liking his work that I think makes me fond of it as well. Yeah,
cool. And I mean, tell me some of your favorite moments from it. Tell me some of the things that you thought could have done better. Give us a rough breakdown of those.
I think the whole end game sequence is particularly good because they seem to PJ Ray, let's go out and murder babies. As well as seeing a dude get cooked alive. Christopher Walken's character. It's that's probably my favorite bit is kind of the last act. A lot of the combat scenes in the fighting and the costumes, like the skeleton dudes and the clown dudes and the circus dudes. Any involvement of that, I think, is probably my high point in the movie. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, I think she was great. I think if she was younger, I guess, and you made her Catwoman now, even in a different kind of context, I think she'd be really good. I think she nailed the role. She's quite a good Selena Kyle.
Yeah, cool. And what are some things that you think could have been done better? Or was it like the pacing of the movie? Was it the first half where you thought this is a little not so Batman-y? I don't know. Like, I'm going to give my opinion on that, why I said that statement just then in a minute. But what do you think about?
I think a bit more substance in the plot. Like, it doesn't have to be super convoluted or like the Batman bit. Something a bit thicker, I think. And the worst part, the thing that gets me every time I watch it, and I don't think anyone could explain it in a way that would make sense, is how Catwoman becomes Catwoman. That's always bugged me. It's like, you just died, and now cats are hanging around you, so you're alive again with powers.
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying I'm a professional, but just wait. I do have the authority that I got a diploma of film right here, yeah?
Yeah.
So, as someone who went to film and I'd had screenwriting classes and things like that, they really do kind of just push it into the story that she's got powers. And someone's like, yeah, but how? And they're like, don't worry about it.
That's exactly it. It's like,
she falls out of the building, the cat's liquor. That's all you need to know, man. You know what I mean? So, just don't ask questions. Excuse me. No, we're not answering that question. We answered it in the movie. But you didn't. Yes, you did.
Maybe that's why they made the Halle Berry Catwoman. It's like, you know how we can make this old Catwoman better? This.
They certainly failed at that. That's something they failed at. So
yes.
I'm going to give my thoughts on this movie. I don't like it. I don't like this movie. I thought it was very slow. I thought for a Batman movie even, that is, okay, while we just talked about how this movie isn't necessarily just aimed at kids, but it is this is what kids go to see with their parents and stuff. It's a family movie, I guess. So for a family movie, I thought it was very slow, boring, sort of a movie that kids wouldn't get a lot out of. I thought that the first movie held a lot more value for kids. especially because it was the first time seeing this sort of Batman on this big screen. I mean, we hadn't had a Batman movie for over 30 years at that point. So it was probably a big deal. And I just feel like as a follow-up, this didn't bring any of the stakes that it needed to. Like, I felt like Penguin's plan was weak. I felt like Penguin was nowhere near of a threat as anyone else in the Batman franchises before. Like, I mean, think about how, maybe not Batman 1989 with Joker, with Jack Nicholson. I mean, yeah, he's definitely more threatening, but like, again, it's not one grand scam plan he had. He had like a bunch that sort of like were scattered throughout the movie. So yeah, they both kind of don't have the big grand scheme plans, but like think about the starting of the next movie we're going to watch, Batman Forever, where Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey are like literally ripping a bank vault out with a helicopter or whatever and flying above with the Tommy guns and shit. And then Batman and Robin starts off with something pretty action-packed, yeah?
That whole the Diamond Heist.
The Diamond Heist, that's right.
Ice skate fighting.
Yeah, man, that looks like a fucking stage show. Batman on ice. And then we got this is Batman on ice. Just a different form of ice. That's the thumbnail I made, by the way. Me and Alan were laughing.
There's the drug use.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the meth, man. So yeah, I just think this Penguin is very. Danny DeVito did a great job as playing like a weird, gross, disgusting Penguin, but Penguin's never really been like that. As far as I know, Penguin has been like a mob boss, sort of like a Gotham City crony that's a big deal that like is kind of too big to get into a lot of the shenanigans of other people because he's already rich and owns the Iceberg Lounge Club, and sort of he only really comes out when it concerns him. So this whole thing of like him having no parents and growing up in the sewers, raised by penguins, like I don't know who came up with these premises, but that's not the origin stories of the characters, and I don't think that was a good solution. I also don't think that the way as you said, the way they addressed Catwoman getting powers was a way to work, and I also don't think that there was enough action in the Batman. It's a Batman movie, and it just didn't have enough action in it. It was so bland and yeah, just one-noted. I felt through the whole thing. After what I've said, I know you said, because just a little behind the scenes look here at how we do things. Me and Alan kind of message each other throughout the day, pretty much every day, with like thoughts on shows or what we're doing for episodes that night. And you know, I messaged him saying, "Yeah, I watched Batman Returns. I fell asleep during it. I pretty much fucking hated this movie." And this is coming from someone that thought. Sorry, I'm just trying to raise the light in my room. This is coming from someone who thought that Batman 1989 was not going to be fun to watch because I hadn't watched it in such a long time and had no memory of that movie, and came out of it pleasantly happy and surprised with how good it was, and thought, well, if I go into this movie, which I did like better before I rewatched Batman 1989, I thought I have to come out liking this movie even more than I originally liked this movie. And I just don't like it after realizing how much I do like the original. So what are your thoughts on my concerns with that?
I think I get where you're coming from. And I think the reason I like the movie as well is not necessarily solely because it's a Batman movie. So I think I think if I was entering it, I think with your expectations, or like, I think I'll probably be in the same boat as you. I think the reasons I like it aren't for entirely what it is to begin with, which is a strange thing to say, but if that makes sense, like it's.
What do you think about the changed up story for Penguin?
I think it was interesting. It's from an alternate Penguin telling. I don't hate it, but at the same time as well, it's not really the Penguin. I think when you have so many Batman characters that are kind of grotesque, and you could have done that whole thing on, why did we have the Penguin? Like, it confuses me a little bit. Like, it could have gone other ways. Like,
I don't know, man. It just feels to me like I don't know. I've pretty much exhausted why I don't like it. But yeah, I feel like if there would have been just a little more action throughout, just peppered throughout the first half and the middle, the conversation would be a lot different. Because I agree with you that the last sort of act of this movie is the standout moment of it,
Yeah.
But before that,
it
takes a long time to get there, What do you think about Michael? So yeah, what I was saying is I know this is the first Batman sequel, but what do you think about Michael Keaton's performance in this again? Because since Michael Keaton played this role the first 2 times, it's been a different Batman up until the Dark Knight trilogy, and then after the Dark Knight trilogy. So we've kind of gotten different Batmans every sort of not generation, but whatever you want to call it. We got different Batmans all the time. So I know that wasn't the case back then, which is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? But what do you think about Michael Keaton coming back and playing Batman? Do you think that that's what you would like to see going forward? Or do you think that it was a good idea for them to go with someone else?
I would have liked to see more of him as Batman, to be honest, because I think him as Batman, I think he was a little more in the role. He seems a lot less, I think maybe experience of knowing how this is going to be in this suit that you probably still can't hear out of or turn your head in. I think that he was prepared for that a bit more, and I think he was a lot less awkward, I think, in this movie.
Yeah, he definitely was. That opening shot of the Batcave and where he's sort of sitting at the Bat computer and stuff, you can already feel that he's got a lot more confidence in the role of Bruce Wayne, and sort of almost you feel like, oh, you're comfortable with that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'd never liked George Clooney as Batman. We'll talk about that. I'm just using that as, obviously we're not talking about that now, so we'll talk about that when we get to it. But I've always felt a little weird about when they pick a Batman. I'm always like, oh, I'm not sure about that. I was the same with Robert Pattinson. So I'm glad Michael Keaton returned because it felt like what you want to see. But I also do feel like it was a less prominent role than what he did do in the original. I do feel like he was sort of less involved in. There's a lot less screen time of Michael Keaton than there is in the first one. I feel. Do you feel that way, or do you think I'm remembering?
No, I agree. It's a lot more focused, I think, on Catwoman and Penguin.
It is, and obviously Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
who got set on fire and isn't Walken anymore. So, I mean, what do you think about Christopher Walken's performance in it as well?
I liked him. I think he was one of the characters that carried it a bit as well. Like he's just a good actor, and he plays a good seedy guy. So I think he fit in there well.
He's not as good as he was in Wayne's World 2, but
no.
We'll take
but yeah, he's seedy, but he's also creepy, but yet still kind of alluring. It's like, I hate you, but I kind of like you.
Yeah, well, that means he's doing the role well. You know what I mean? He's playing sort of true to the role. It's like how I was watching a thing on. I'll just because it's always nice to credit people when you watch something of theirs and give them credit. So he's a big YouTube content creator. If you haven't checked him out, Joe Blow Movies. He does like what the fuck happened to this movie, or what the fuck happened to this actor, or whatever. And he just did what the fuck happened to Kevin Spacey, and he talked about everything that happened with him and what he'd done in the past, with how big a success he was and all that. And he does make a good point that should you stop watching Kevin Spacey movies because of everything that occurred with him, or should you kind of look at it like, well, if you want to watch Seven, watch it, and then when you see Kevin Spacey, you can actually go, that man actually is a monster. So it works well for the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess it depends what role they're playing, I guess. But yeah, like, I just find it interesting how good Christopher Walken can play a bad guy. I wonder how nice he is in real life or how bad he is in real life, because Kevin Spacey isn't a nice guy, apparently. So
no.
That was a creepy video he did, by the way, when he did that House of Cards thing at Christmas or whatever.
I don't think I've seen it.
You haven't?
No.
Right. We'll show that next time. Anyway, it was that he did this. Do you watch House of Cards? Have you ever watched it?
No, it's one of those ones that kind of slipped me by.
Yeah, well, he plays some like really bad dude in it, and someone that like has a really bad sort of tone. And he delivers that tone in like a Christmas speech that he made for YouTube after he got like kicked from House of Cards, kicked from like Hollywood basically. And he's like basically saying this slogan of like, I'm going to kill you with kindness. Kill them with kindness. And he does it all creepily and stuff. And it's like, you're not helping your case here anymore, man.
No.
Anyways, I really do like what you said about the movie too, where you said like the things about the clowns, skulls, the people, the costumes in this movie. I really loved Penguin's duck boat that he rides on. All those things I really like in this movie. That's sort of the standout parts for me is the set design, the prop design, all that.
Penguin with rockets on them as well. I mean, it's weird, but how can you hate that?
Look at those wheels. I'm watching the TV in the thing. Look at it going up the stairs and shit. So, yeah, what's weird about it is, though, how much this movie has cemented the idea of Penguin and that duck boat. Because, I mean, I bought my son a bat cave in probably 2014, a Lego bat cave. It would have been 2016, 17. Like the big bat cave, the biggest like set you could get. And it was the bat cave with a duck boat. With the Penguin's duck boat like breaking through it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that that's sort of what the image is of. I think most people would look at the Penguin nowadays as Danny DeVito's character of the Penguin, like his interpretation of the character. Like,
Yeah.
do you think I'm spot on with that too? Because no one's kind of done it justice in film form, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you think that that's correct as well.
Yeah, it's I'd agree. I guess I kind of think of because of the cartoon series and the Adam West, which I kind of grew up with as well before this. I also think a lot of the monocle and the cigarette holder and the wah.
Yeah, I've got to say though, that scene of him eating the raw fish, like eating it, unnecessary.
It's funny. My partner Dana, she saw that scene where he bites the nose as a kid, had nightmares all through her life, and when I rewatched this, she couldn't look at the Penguin. She still kind of cringes. So I'm guessing that's the polar opposite to me as a kid seeing it and not being phased. So it's kind of like when you've traumatized someone into their adulthood, you've done something right in a wrong way.
Yeah, I totally get why kids would have moments where they're scared in this movie and whatever. I probably would be a little concerned showing it to my son if it wasn't the sort of right time or whatever, you know. But I also feel like you got to harden your kids up early. You have to.
That's it.
Because life doesn't coddle you at all. So you better get prepared. Okay, cool. So we'll move on to some more trivia before we'll get into like some maybe like last things we want to wrap up and say in our where we rank it. So, man, I'm having a lot of problems talking tonight. You know what I think it is? I haven't eaten. So let's have a look. This is some trivia for Batman Returns. At least 50% of the Warner Brothers lot was taken up with Gotham City sets. Danny DeVito remained in character between takes, which would have killed me.
That would be weird.
Yep. The production wanted to use king penguins, but the only tame ones in captivity were at the bird sanctuary in Cotswold, deep in English countryside. So the birds were flown over to the States in the refrigerated hold of a plane. They were given their own refrigerated trailer and swimming pool with a half ton of fresh ice every day and had fresh fish delivered daily straight from the docks. Even though the temperature outside frequently topped 100 degrees, the entire set was refrigerated down to 35 degrees. The birds also had an around-the-clock bodyguard. The birds clearly enjoyed the experience, as following their stint in Hollywood, most of them had mated and produced eggs, the sure sign of a contented penguin.
How would that be? That's a claim to life, isn't it? I was a penguin's bodyguard.
Yeah, dude. Imagine the person that you had to bodyguard after that. You'd be like, man, I want the Penguin back. Well, I don't want to actually have to look after this guy. You know what I mean? The Penguin just would have not flown, but fucking pecked them to death, bro.
Yeah.
Penguin flies. Jesus. That's almost as crazy as Michelle Pfeiffer just getting magical cat powers, man.
Yeah.
In an interview for television, Stan Winston told a little antidote about what? That's a shit one. I'm not going to go with that one. Michael Keaton was alleged to have earned $11 million for reprising his role as Batman. The Warner Brothers executives were very uneasy with this. However, director Tim Burton stated that he personally believed Keaton deserved it. Man, imagine having a director come bat for you like that. That's big, man. Danny DeVito, whose makeup as the Penguin took 3 hours to be applied every morning, removed one of the cabinets in the makeup trailer and put in a Laserdisc machine and a television. While they were putting on the makeup, he brought in his favorite movies and watched them in a mirror. Actors, huh? Michelle Pfeiffer went through 60 cat suits during the 6-month shoot at a cost of $1,000 a piece.
Jesus.
So
How is that cat suit $1,000?
I'd be telling her to fucking look after them more.
Yeah.
We're like, listen, we bought 45. We're not getting to 50. I'm having a look for you for some more. This is the only sequel to one of his own films that Tim Burton has directed himself. That's weird.
No, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, well, what's his other ones? Is there's Edward Scissorhands, yeah?
That didn't have a sequel. Now there's Beetlejuice 2 coming. So,
yeah. And
but before
Edward Scissorhands is made by Tim Burton, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it had a sequel.
Yeah, it didn't have a sequel. I just was wondering if I was even close to the point with that. I'm trying to think of the other Tim Burton movies that were like huge in the 90s, because what did he do before Batman?
Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice. No, wait. Scissorhands might have been after. Beetlejuice was before.
Weird, man, that his sort of filmography wasn't directed towards any sort of thing that you could relate to a Batman movie at all, and Warner Brothers were like, Tim Burton, you know? So
the only thing I can think is at that point in time, they were like, this guy's dark, and we want a dark Batman movie, so Tim Burton.
It's not as dark, man. Liam Neeson in it. Take the fucking elephant.
Then there's a sequel to that movie. Don't watch the sequel to that movie.
What did you think about them including Pee Wee Herman? I thought it was very unnecessary.
It was weird because it was literally just that one split moment. You're like, hey, Pee Wee Herman.
It was so weird. I was like, because you know what? He looks so different to what Pee Wee Herman looks like as well. So when he came up, I was like, I know that guy. Who's that guy? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's Pee Wee Herman. So it's already hard to tell that it was Pee Wee Herman. And then you realize it's Pee Wee Herman. And you're like, why is he in a Batman movie playing this guy? You know what I mean? So,
although if you want to go by what that little movie critic had to say about having child things trying to hurt children, then I mean, that is a good play. That is a good play.
What newspaper's hiring a kid to write movie reviews? But in our day, there's no way a 10, 11-year-old kid like that will be like, I work for the Daily Tribune reviewing movies. Mama was a total travesty against children.
But yeah, it was weird that people. It was almost like Jeffrey Dean Morgan being Thomas Wayne in Batman vs Superman. It's like, why do you have an actor of that caliber doing a bit part? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you the way you are?
It annoys me with those things like that. Like, unless it like has more significance, or the sort of like they're the perfect person to play that role because they show some sort of skill that's necessary, or some acting shot that kind of shows that they have the skills to play that actor, or that character. I don't see why you would do that sort of thing. It sort of defeats any purpose of having that person in the movie, and kind of just goes, hey, look who we got. You know,
we got a guy you're going to know, but he'll be here for 10 seconds because We want you to ask questions.
Pee Wee Herman did no fucking Pee Wee Herman shenanigans in that role, so he was not needed. It could have been some no-name actor, because do you know who his wife was? Do you know who any of the other people were at the start of the movie, really? No? Why was Pee Wee Herman the only one we needed to know? I don't know, man. Choices like that really annoy me. So I thought we'd do something a little different quickly here too, which is look at some of the goofs which are listed. So the mistakes in the movie. At around 1 hour and 6 minutes, when Penguin holds Catwoman's hand to the bed, hisses and meows are heard from it, but it never opens its mouth. So a cat, I guess.
So that's just the Foley people sucked.
Okay, so I'm going to reread that again. At around, man, that's a weird thing on IMDb. Any motherfucker can come and write a fact, and it's all well and good that IMDb will maybe fact check it or whatever, but they won't check the spelling or the punctuation, and it'll just be 700 words with no punctuation. Character errors, continuity. So character error. The penguin exhibit at the closed zoo is called Arctic World. Penguins and Antarctic creatures. So, okay. I don't get that. Man, some of these are shit. Continuity. When Selena comes home from the office and listens to her answering machine messages saying she has to go back to the office to get the Bruce Wayne file, she's wearing a brown dress suit. But when she comes home after being brought back to life by the cats, she's wearing a grey dress.
Well, I mean, the cats did it with their licking.
Are we really going to worry about what dress she's wearing after she fell out of a window and managed to have cat powers from getting licked? I think we got bigger concerns to worry about than what dress she was wearing before and after the event. What about the events? I don't know, man. I want to hear where you're going to rank this movie, what your thoughts are on this movie compared to the others, and I'll give you mine, I guess.
I don't think you'll like it, but I'm putting this at the top.
Hey, man, it's your list, you know? It's your list, man. You make it however you want. So, for all of you, I'll quickly bring it up. This is the current ranking. We are both the same. We both have Batman 1989 at 1, and we have the Batman at number 2. Now, we're going to take this away while I correct it. So, Alan has decided to go the silly route.
There are two choices, the correct one and the wrong one.
Yeah, Alan's decided to go the shit route. So he's decided to go down the hill that's fucking got giant jagged rocks. But hey, we'll let him go down that hill. And he wants to put Batman Returns at number 1. So I'm going to write that in. Maybe while I write it in, you could give us your best Pee Wee Herman impersonation, man.
I wish I could, but I've never actually paid much attention to Pee Wee Herman.
I don't know, man. This? Oh, no, I know what it is. This is crack. Have you seen that? Have you seen that drug ad he does? So funny,
yes,
man.
yes.
And then he got caught with crack.
It's interesting. He was always one of those characters that I knew who he was, but I don't think I've ever seen a Pee Wee Herman movie.
Either. It's like Ernest Goes to Whatever. I've seen none of those ever, but everyone's like, remember Ernest Goes to Whatever? And I'm like, no. I've never seen
I have a theory that John Cena is actually a time traveler. He went back in time and became Ernest. Look at them. He's basically an old John Cena. There you go. Conspiracy theory.
Yeah. What the fuck? Sorry. I'm just trying to write this out. And you know what? It's being shit. It keeps thinking in the wrong part. So we got Batman Returns.
John Cena is actually Benjamin Button. And he was Ernest.
Man, John Cena. He's actually so good. He's actually so good.
Being a meme. Yeah,
man. Because now that he's like actually in like Suicide Squad, really, and he does such a great job. It's kind of. I think everyone took John Cena as sort of like a joke as an actor, like didn't take him seriously. You know what I mean? And I think that he's kind of proven that he does have acting chops. Just has to be a role that sort of suits his sort of persona, I guess. To be honest, I've never really been a big John Cena fan. As I said, I've never watched any wrestling, but I thought he was so good in Suicide Squad, and I haven't watched any of Peacemaker, but obviously it's the same character. So
Yeah,
I thought the trailers for that for Peacemaker looked very funny. So look, this program is being shit and not letting me put it in properly. So I had to take away the 1, 2, 3 before them. So it's going to look a little inconsistent. But you know what? We're running out of time and running out of patience. All right, so I'll put the list in. We're going to talk about the comparisons now. See, it was crazy because we were both on the same side as each other before this. We were both coming into this episode facing the same direction.
I'm going, what?
Yeah. And it was funny because I was like, "Oh, maybe our list's going to be very similar." Nope, not at all. Alan really likes this movie, apparently.
I mean, I can't argue that. I do.
Oh wait, there's one thing. There's one thing I have to write next to this. Right next to your choice. Sorry.
But on a level of this to what I've heard about Morbius,
I'm Michael.
is it that bad?
Yeah, man, hilarious. I've heard nothing but shit things. Dude, well, that reminds me. I'll bring it up quickly and show you, so you'll die of laughter. This is the response that I've seen for Morbius so far. You ready?
Nice. Michael Morbius.
Yeah, terrible movie. That's the reaction I've seen from it. So that's hilarious, man. Are you gonna go see it?
I am not going to see it at the cinema. I've heard all I need to know to go. No, I don't watch cams or anything. But I had a friend watch a cam version. He's like, I couldn't see shit, but that probably made the movie better.
Probably. All right. So remember, we just showed you this. That was the ranking before when we were both on the same track. We were both on the same train lines. And now things have gone hurdling. I'm going to fix that up. Don't worry, I'll edit that out. Let me write the minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, man. This is being a piece of shit, this thing. Just writing the minutes. What minute are we at? We're at 51. Just bring up my notes to write it. 51. Oh my God, man. I need a better setup than what I got at the moment. All right, 51. So I'm going to just quickly fix that and drag it down a bit. All right. Share, download. Editing on the fly, huh? All right, so Michael Morbius. All right, I'm bringing it up now. Our rankings. Alan's is wrong, but whatever. It's all right. It's all right. Look, sometimes it's good, to disagree. Can't all agree. Can't always be the same. So this is the current ranking now. So, as you saw, Alan has now given himself a brand new #1 winner, which is Batman Returns. I'm looking forward to seeing when this movie gets taken over, if at all, in your list. And I'm wanting to see. I'm definitely know this isn't last for me. Already, I can tell you that this is not going to be my most hated Batman movie. I can already tell you what one that is. Most likely. I have to rewatch Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. But it's got to be one of those, yeah? Like, they're the worst. I mean, they both had their highlights, like Jim Carrey as Riddler. Val Kilmer was an okay Batman. But God, Batman and Robin really has no saving grace, I don't think. I don't know, we'll talk about that in the future, obviously. But what do you What do you think's going to happen with your ranking?
I don't know, but I think it's going to be funny. I'm full of surprises, I think.
You're not telling me that you're going to keep this at number one, because you know what's really good about us doing this Batman ranked and reviewed when we have been doing it, when we started doing it, rather than doing it like we do with all our previous entries where we ranked and reviewed each movie in the franchise leading up to the release of a new one. You know what's really good about doing it this time, sort of the month after it was released, or 6 weeks, sort of, we sort of got the chance to get the second wind now of people, where this is the Batman movie, the new one, is dropping on streaming for digital in America and stuff this month. So we're kind of going to catch all the people that missed out on the content during the theatrical release. So I think it was a good choice for us to push it back, because we did push it back when we could have done it. I feel like we made the right decision where we kind of we reviewed the new movie and decided we'd continue to do this one after a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Just because after seeing a 3-hour Batman movie, I was all Batman out of the movie.
Yes.
But yeah, dude. Now that we've ranked them and we've shown that we like this one the most, well, you like this one the most, whatever. You're wrong, maybe, but whatever. Where I think a good conversation to end this on would be, because everyone is going to be talking about the Batman movie because it's streaming this month, how we would compare the two movies, because I do feel like they have a lot in common in some ways, which is it's the first movie to feature the first movie to feature the Penguin as a character again since Batman Returns. I'm correct with that, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. And it also is slow and very drawn out, and the last act is sort of the highlight. So it has a lot in common. That's kind of what our opinion was anyway on the movie. I know there's a lot of people out there that have different opinions where they're talking like, well, they love the whole movie, and people have gone and seen it 4 times, which I don't know how the fuck they've done that, man. I don't know, man. I couldn't imagine myself.
That is 12 hours of your life
12
listening to that Nirvana song.
Oh, dude. You know what? After thinking about it for a while, I think that's the thing I didn't like about the movie the most, was the use of that song.
Yeah.
Because it made it feel like way depressing rather than just dark and gritty and whatever. It made it emo.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's compare Batman's. Michael Keaton's performance in this to Robert Pattinson in the Batman. Because, as we said, we are ranking the Batman movies right now, and we have only done the Batman and Batman Returns, meaning we have only so far seen 2 Batmans in this ranked and reviewed series. So we're going to sort of do a side thing where we're going to rank each Batman separately, because while we may like this movie more or whatever, maybe we didn't like it as much as a portrayal of Batman in another feature. So, I mean, I don't know if you like that idea or not.
I do like that. I do.
So let's have a quick chat before we end this. Where do you think he compares, Robert Pattinson and Michael Keaton compare to each other? Do you think that one of them does a better job than the other, or do you think that they're both on par? Give us your opinion.
I think they're very close. I think if the Batman had a sequel and a bit more time for Pattinson to fall into the role, there'll probably be a different conversation. But I think the tiniest bit, I'll put Michael Keaton above Pattinson. But
I want you to think about this before you think about just Batman. Remember, we're talking about Bruce Wayne as well.
that's where I don't think we've seen enough Bruce Wayne. That's where it gets tough. But I think
that's what I mean. I want you to think about this long and hard, because I would put Michael Keaton way above Robert Pattinson, and that's only because he nails Batman, he nails the action scenes, but he also nails the Bruce Wayne, where I felt like we didn't get that from Robert Pattinson in this movie. I felt like Bruce Wayne was an afterthought. I felt like the character, not the character's plot, like Bruce Wayne's the story behind the whole thing, but just the portrayal of the actual person Bruce Wayne. I feel like we got shafted with that in the new Batman movie because he just felt so uninteresting. He was so like people are like, you need to do more. You're a philanthropist and blah blah blah, and he's not answering him back, and he's not being like comical or witty, or not even witty, but like he's not being a rich snob or anything. Like he's just,
I'm depressed.
Doing faces like when the car's driving in, to the funeral and shit. And it's just like as if you didn't pick that was Batman. He talks as much as Batman. So I don't know. I would have to put Michael Keaton way above Robert Pattinson. And look, I'm saying this before I watched these movies again for this ranked and reviewed series. There's no way I would have done that, bro. I would have put Robert Pattinson over it just from memory of these movies. I would have gone, Robert Pattinson's probably a better Batman than Michael Keaton now. I don't know. But now that I've watched these movies, no way, man, because taking Batman and Bruce Wayne together and sort of combining the roles into one, I just don't think Robert Pattinson came close. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping we'll see more and better for the next one, but where it stands, I do agree. But Keaton definitely, when you put it that way, I think I'm more inclined, definitely more inclined to say Michael Keaton stands above him.
Definitely. And while we're on that note, we may as well do it. Let's rank the Batmobile compared to each other, and let's rank the villain. So, what do you think about Penguin / Christopher Walken's villain? Because I'd say you want to say if there was 3 villains in a movie. So, like, say, for instance, in Dark Knight, we've had Scarecrow, or we have Joker, you have Two-Face, you would kind of put that whole lineup in the one category. You know what I mean? So, where would you rank these bad guys compared to, Paul Dean? Is it Paul Dini?
I think so, yeah.
Look, if someone wants to correct me, they can write in. The guy that played Riddler in the new movie, where do you think he compares to, say, we'll do it in a minute for the first movie too, Penguin and Christopher Walken, and then in a minute I'll ask you the same question about the first movie.
I think I'll probably put them on an even playing ground. I think the Riddler was not average, but a little lackluster for most of the movie, but really good in the end. Christopher Walken was really good, but the Penguin I also really liked, but not for the right reasons. Not for the Batman reasons. I think it was the Tim Burton reasons I liked that Penguin.
I find it very interesting because I would have to say that as much as I thought the Riddler was sort of a little bland through most of the Batman movie and was sort of like just a whatever character, I do think that one scene of him in the prison cell talking to Batman just stood over anything Danny DeVito or Christopher. But as much as Christopher Walken's good in this movie, he is just Christopher Walken with a nasty attitude. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, if that's how you feel, that's good, man. But obviously, we're going to have different opinions. That's what the whole thing is about. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Look, I was right about Indiana Jones. No, I'm joking. I was definitely wrong about that. And you know what? To be honest, I kind of knew what I was doing there, to be honest. Kind of did it for a bit of fun. I probably in real life don't act in real person. I probably don't really like it more than the others, but I just wanted to change it up a little bit. So yeah, where would you compare him? Would you say that you like Christopher Walken and Penguin more? Yeah,
I'll probably say on par. I'll give them both, all three, probably a solid 4.
And let's do that for the same thing. What about Joker?
Joker way above.
Yeah.
I
would put Joker way above, and then I'd put Riddler. Then I would put Penguin and Christopher Walken. Now, while we're at it, as we said, we're going to do the Bat car. What do you like better, the Bat car in the new movie or this Bat car?
That's hard. So I really liked the new one. I liked how it was just pretty much a old muscle car with a jet engine on the back. But I'm going to say Batmobile from Batman and Batman Returns is at the top. It may even remain there.
I think that it's too ingrained in people's minds as what the Bat car looks like.
Yeah.
For it to not be the winner in that category, you know. As much as I love the Tumbler, and see, I'm questioning my own words here now because, like, while I'm saying it, I'm like, but wait, maybe I do like the Tumbler more. So yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that from the earlier Batman movies, that was probably the most. It's hard. They're all reskins of each other, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it.
All of even in Batman Forever, yeah.
Yeah, Batman Forever. It's similar but with more lights. I think it's more bright.
Interesting. So, I guess yeah. All our rankings for each thing kind of sits around the same spot as the film itself, but it'll be interesting when this list grows to see how it expands and what we're ranking by the end of this. We might be going rank which cape you like the best, man. But
I mean,
we're just gonna have 10 different rankings come up.
Than that jumpsuit.
Oh yeah, that squirrel suit in the new movie can go fuck itself, man. I'm sorry, I don't just say go fuck yourself to a thing in a movie. I like to explain myself a little bit more and go into why I feel that way. Watch it. It looks like a potato sack. It literally looks like he just put himself in a potato sack and jumped off a building. All right. But there you go. Alan had it at number 1. I put it at number 3. Looking forward to seeing how far it drops down the list for me because I'm not sure if it's my most hated, but it's definitely not up with my most loved. Again, Alan, I'm glad you got fond memories of this from your childhood, as do I, but I think you need to come see the light. I will help you through this tough time, man. We will go talk to a priest.
An old priest and a young priest is required.
I'm just worried your head's going to start spinning around. You're going to start fingering yourself with a cross.
Yeah, equal parts excited and terrified if I did that, I think.
Oh, and by the way, we forgot to mention, who's excited for our Barbie ranked and reviewed series?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely think Mermaid Barbie is going to be up there for me.
What I love is that everyone thought it was an April Fool's joke. Which it was.
That's where it's a double whammy. We're actually doing it.
Man, I laughed so hard when I was like, surely there can't be that many Barbie movies. And then I looked it up and there was a list of 43. And I was like, oh, shit. Can you imagine doing that for like 2-3 years straight, just fucking Barbie reviews or whatever? By the time we got it done? I'd be like, I know everything about Barbie. Do you know Ken? You know Ken is a size 7 shoe? Like, all right. Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode of Ranked and Reviewed. It's a little longer in the tailpipe than I usually would go for, but that's because there were some moments in this episode that I'm going to edit out because I couldn't find the words I wanted to say. So I wanted to keep us talking a little bit more to give me a little bit more stuff to have to choose from. So I'm sorry, Alan, that my brain doesn't seem to be fucking working correctly today. I don't know what's going on with me, man. I'm just like all out of whack. How long has it been since we've done a podcast?
A week nearly? Couldn't be.
As long as we've gone, that's probably why, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of forgetting how to just talk and host. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'll go fuck myself like that fucking squirrel suit. I'm your host, Tomye West. Joining me is my co-host, Alanins Maximus. This has been another episode of Batman Ranked and Reviewed. And I will hopefully see you next time when I can talk again. Thanks for joining us. See you next time, guys.
Peace.